Alright, so first of all, disregard the lighting in this and whatever. I'm in my closet. I was praying in here, and I just wanted to teach you guys something that the Holy Spirit just taught to me now, like a couple minutes ago, literally. And I wanted to explain it in a longer video than my last short, but I wanted to make it into a short because I know people like watching shorts because we have short attention spans. Get it? Short. Anyway, I just wanted to explain some things on how I came to that conclusion and some more of the backstory and stuff. So first of all, the other day I woke up from sleeping in the morning and I just prayed. I was like, God, what if you gave me any dreams last night, would you have me remember them, and would you help me to understand what they meant and what you were speaking to me specifically? And I didn't remember or think of anything at all, and I actually was just starting to fall back asleep when all of a sudden these two phrases popped into my head, just like out of nowhere. And it wasn't like a thought from myself, because I don't know, like it was just so random. Like I don't know how to explain it in an explainable way. It just came out of nowhere. Like I wasn't thinking about anything, and it was like so like clear and vivid to my brain. Like it just like impressed on my brain. I don't know, hopefully that makes enough sense. Anyway, the two phrases were this. The first one was a strong boat. Strong boat, specifically, just strong boat. Anyway, then the second one was a field of hands. I'm still trying to figure out the field of hands ones. I kind of got some of it, but I'm not talking about this, or I'm not talking about the field of hands in this video. Let me know if you have some interpretation of that you feel the Holy Spirit is saying about field of hands. But what I'm talking about is the strong boat one. Anyway, I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. Like, what in the world, a strong boat and a field of hands? What does that mean? But I also, at the same time, just had the feeling that it was from the Holy Spirit, because it was right after I prayed, and it's not like I wasn't thinking about boats, I wasn't thinking about hands or fields or anything. And also, that's just something that you see a lot in the Bible. You see parables about, well, I don't know if you see parables about boats, but you see stories with like boats in them, and like Jesus going on a boat, you know, the fishers of fish. And also like fields, and there are lots of parables with like nature, you know, like plants and stuff. And hands, yeah, I don't know, it's just there are lots of like things like that in the Bible. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means, so maybe I'll ask some people. So I'm actually doing this school that is one weekend, like 2 days, Friday night and Saturday, a month, like once a month, and it's called the School of Ministry and Leadership. Anyway, I'm doing it. It's awesome. I'm learning so much, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. And it was such a last minute decision. I'm just so glad that God had that all happen. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. So I went there this past weekend, learned a lot. It was awesome, so good. I talked to some people about this, because it's like, I don't know if you guys know what that means, because I don't. But yeah, just throwing that out there, like to see if you know what it means. Anyway, no one knew. Everyone was like I don't know, talk to this person or whatever. And in those meetings, in those classes, in those teachings, they talked a lot about prayer and how important it is. And I've been realizing lately that I've been slacking in that area of my life in praying, and getting in that quiet place, getting in my closet and actually on my knees, you know, praying, having a conversation with Jesus, not just talking to him, but also having him talk back to me. And I've just been so lazy lately, and I haven't been doing that really. I've been praying, just not making an effort to actually like take time out of my day to really pray and spend time with God. Anyway, so I wanted to do that, and I wanted to pray. I wanted to actually make time. I knew I had to, and I knew that's what God wanted me to do. But again, I'm a lazy person, and I just didn't want to, because I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I was downstairs in my living room, and I was crocheting. I haven't crocheted in years. I literally was just making a rag or something. But I was crocheting, and I was sitting there, and I thought to myself, why am I crocheting? What am I doing with this? Why am I crocheting? I'm not using it for anything. I should be using my time for something better. I should be praying. I just felt in my spirit God telling me Megan, you need to go pray. I want to talk to you. And you need to do it now. Listen now. Stop procrastinating. Listen now, or I consider that disobedience. So I was like, okay, I need to actually obey. So I got off my butt, walked upstairs, actually walked back downstairs after walking halfway upstairs to grab my Bible, got my Bible, and I also got a notebook and a pen to write anything that I felt like I should write. So I came into my closet, and I knew that I needed to study what strong boat and field of hands meant. And I knew I needed to talk to God about it, not about people, because another thing that I've been doing lately is relying on people instead of relying on God. And, people will never measure up to God, because God was the one that literally made them. So anyway, I started praying about it, and I was like, God, what, I don't know, what does this mean? Where do you even want me to start, and whatever. Just praying whatever I was thinking, and talking to Jesus. And then I thought maybe I should look up verses about a strong boat or a boat or something. So I started looking up verses, and I was like, God, would you just highlight a certain verse for me to really dig into, or that you're really trying to speak to me? Would you highlight it in my brain and just make it stick out to me? But none of the verses are sticking out to me at all. There were verses about Jesus going into a boat, and just different things with boats and stuff, but none of it really spoke to this situation, or my whatever. So anyway, then I started thinking, well, what is a boat for anyway? Why is there a boat? And just stuff about boats. And then I prayed, and I was like, okay, God, just write through me now, because I have no idea. I just don't know. So I started writing, and what I wrote was, you need a strong boat to hold a lot of fish. If you don't have a strong boat, you either won't catch a lot of fish, or you will, but you'll sink, because of the weight of the fish. Fish usually represent people, by the way. Jesus said, be fishers of men and stuff. And, so fish, men, that's usually what I think of when I think of fish. That might be weird, but yeah. Anyway, then I wrote, okay, what else does a boat do? And I realized a boat floats you over waves. And it takes you across oceans. That's what a boat does. It floats you over waves, and it takes you across oceans. Then I realized, wait a second. A lot of times, waves can represent challenges, your ups and your downs, and oceans a lot of times can, or at least maybe not a lot of times, I'm not really sure, but what I thought of this time, or what the Holy Spirit taught me this time, because I don't think I thought of this actually, my brain is not very smart at all. Anyway, oceans are something impossible to cross if you don't have a boat, or maybe like an airplane or something, but a boat. So yeah, then I paused and I was like, okay, now what? Like, I got this far. What is the boat representing here? Because I had thought at the beginning that, oh, strong boat, that must be good for me, because maybe I'm like a strong boat or something, because, I'm a selfish human being, and I think that everything's about me. But I realized, wait a second, you know who the one is who takes us over our waves of challenges and ups and downs and our oceans of impossibilities, or at least what seems impossible, who takes us over and through that? God. It's so, clear. It's God. So I realized, and I wrote this down, Jesus, who is God, who is the Holy Spirit, He holds us when we go through troubles, the waves. He carries us through impossible situations, or at least what seems to be. He equals our strong boat, because He will never fall apart or sink beneath any heavy load. Then I also realized this. So, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but I wrote, it might be flipped backwards, but I capitalized both strong and boat. I capitalized both of them. I was just writing, and then I was like, oh, I didn't need to capitalize boat. But anyway, yeah. And then after writing all of this, which I'm not quite done yet, there's still two more paragraphs that I'll talk about that are small, so don't worry. But anyway, after I realized that Jesus is the strong boat, I also realized that I wrote strong boat in capitalized letters. And I was like, Jesus is the strong boat, because Jesus is God. He is a proper noun, right? I think that's right. Like I said, I am not very smart. This is just the Holy Spirit working through me. He teaches everything. I can't take credit for what He does or the gifts that He gives me. It's all Him. Which was another thing that I kind of relearned tonight. But anyway, that's besides the point. So the next paragraph that I wrote then is, okay, so how does this apply to us then? If God is the strong boat, what is our action step? What are we supposed to do? And I wrote, but we need to be in Him, completely relying on Him. Otherwise, we will sink. We need to be in the boat, completely relying on the boat. Otherwise, we will sink. And also, the strong boat. Jesus is not just any ordinary boat. He is the strong boat. He is able to take us through any and every storm and over the gigantic waves of life and through the impossible oceans to the other side. He's so good. And that just came out of nowhere. God is just so good. Then, I'm getting to the end, don't worry. I told my one friend about this, who is also a good Christian who loves God and Jesus. I mean, God, Jesus, they're the same thing, but, person. But, yeah, I was telling her about this and how I finally, realized what this means. And it's just, blowing my mind. Oh my goodness, God, you're so good. And she said to me, she said, whoa, you know how it says we're supposed to be fishers of men, right? And then she said, we're supposed to be in the boat, on the boat, being fishers of men, helping to save them from the ocean and the waves. So that just wrapped everything together, and my mind is just, wow. Like, I am amazed by God. Like, I know this is, like, just a little thing, but there's no way I could have thought of this myself. Like, just, it's so, like, it just makes sense. And my mouth just drops. Like, I'm just like, anyway. So that's all I was gonna say. Just trust in Jesus. Like, put your life in His hands. Stop relying on people. That's something that I struggle with personally. You know, putting my hope in people and relying on them to be there for me. And then that causes me to become depressed because they always let me down. You know, they might be fine for a little while, but after a little while, they're gonna fail because they're human. We all fail. And also, I personally, for myself, and I'm sure for others too, because, you know, that's what it says in the Bible, look at the speck in others' eyes instead of the log in my own. I'm taking on a victim mentality and thinking how, oh man, everyone is just against me, instead of realizing what is wrong with myself. Or, yeah, something like that.